Mahabharata is indeed the greatest epic ever written. This epic story teaches us that good is always victorious against evil. After 18 days of the bloodiest war, we know that the Pandavas won and Yudhishthira ruled Hastinapur. But to be fair, no one tried to tell us what happened after the Mahabharata war. What happened to Pandavas? How did they die, and many more such questions. Let's find the answers accordingly. Pandavas after Mahabharata war. There were only 12 people who survived the Mahabharata war, including the 5 Pandavas. After winning the war of Kurukshetra, Pandavas are crowned the rulers of Hastinapur, with Yudhishthira being at the helm of affairs. The war had taken a heavy toll on both sides, and Yudhishthira was left with a kingdom in ruins and a society deeply divided by the events of the war. Yudhishthira, as a just and wise king, worked hard to rebuild his kingdom and restore order to his society. He appointed his brothers to rule over various parts of his kingdom. He also sought the guidance of various sages and advisors, including Lord Krishna, in order to rule justly and wisely. Under the leadership of Yudhishthira, the Pandavas ruled over Hastinapura for 36 years, bringing prosperity and stability to their kingdom. During their reign, the Pandavas continued to uphold the principles of righteousness and dharma, which had been the guiding force behind their actions during the war. They worked to promote peace and harmony among their subjects and were respected for their wisdom, courage, and benevolence. But as time went by, they forgot the million deaths on their hands, the enormous strife that they themselves and others had gone through. And, above all, the presence of an avatar and the things Krishna told them along the way. Everything slowly faded into memory. The day-to-day affairs of the kingdom became more important to them. They became successful, they conquered, they conducted an Ashwamedh Yajna, and they dominated the whole region. Largely, Yudhishthira was the only one who remembered Krishna's every word and tried to live it to whatever extent he could, with the responsibilities he carried. All others slowly became kings, enjoyed being around the king, and being the king's brothers. They were not too arrogant, they did not exploit anyone, they just lived well. As they started getting old, they said, "Parikshit has grown into a fine young man. It is time we coronate him and try to sort out our own lives." Mind you, they lived with Krishna, they lived with the presence of the divine, but they still had to sort it out themselves. Parikshit was Abhimanyu's son and Arjuna's grandson. They coronated him as the emperor of the Kuru dynasty, and the Pandavas and Draupadi decided to go to Vanaprastha. When they walked out of Hastinapur, people gathered in huge numbers. They had been around for so long. Many people of the older generation had seen them going through all kinds of trials and tribulations and coming out successfully. After ruling for 36 years, their departure was a major event in the empire. The Pandavas along with Draupadi decides to climb the Himalayas as the final destination to reach heaven, and they leave Hastinapur. Along the journey, a dog befriends them and accompanies them for the entire journey. The Pandavas first reach the south, to the sea, and perform rituals there. Near the sea, Lord Agnideva appears in front of them. "O Arjuna, the bow you are holding is very powerful. It was sent to you by the gods and devas in order to fight evil and sustain dharma. Now that the purpose has been served and you too have renounced your duties as commander-in-chief, I think you can return the bow to me," said Lord Agnideva. "Agnidevta, I hope I have fulfilled your expectations. Now that we have renounced the world, I don't find it reasonable to hold the bow." Saying so, Arjuna returns his bow to Agnideva. They moved from south to southwest and visited places, ashrams, and from there they headed to Dwarka. The magnificent unglorious city was no more there. The Pandavas seized the city flooded, and from the land, they could see Krishna's palace standing among the waters. The sight of such a beautiful city submerged in the sea made them sad. They turned north and stopped at Rishikesh. From there they started for the Himalayas. They planned to cross Mount Meru and reach heaven. While ascending the Himalayas, Draupadi becomes the first one to fall, followed by Sahadeva, Nakula, Arjuna, and Bhima. Yudhishthira provides the explanation of their falling due to various sins committed during their lifetime. Only the Yudhishthira and the dog continue on their ascent. As the dog and Yudhishthira climb up the mountain, Lord Indra appears on his chariot and asks Yudhishthira to come to heaven with him. Yudhishthira insists to take the dog along with them. Indra disapproves of the request, however, Yudhishthira remains adamant. It is only later on when Yudhishthira realizes that the dog was actually the deity Dharma, who in awe of Yudhishthira's virtues, appreciates him. And eventually, he enters in Indra's chariot to heaven. This is how the Pandavas, the most important characters of Mahabharata, left the world. The Pandavas after the Mahabharata war is a poignant reminder of the transience of human life and the inevitability of death. Despite their many accomplishments and the high esteem in which they were held, they too were subject to the same fate that awaits all mortals. But what happened to Krishna? How did he die? Stay tuned for the next video about Lord Krishna.